Jadeja is on 99 not out, on the verge of his fourth test match ton. At the other end, Sarfaraz Khan Pezza. He has waited years to get into the team. His father and his wife there crying with every run, all the emotions. What a wonderful innings. He's at the non-strikers end, 62 of 66. He's just scored the fastest 50 on test debut for India. Jadeja nails one to mid-on. He says, "Come on, boy, bring me home." And then says, "Wouldn't have thought so. I was joking." Sarfaraz Khan does a big old U-turn. It's a big old turning circle. Let me tell you, Mark Wood throws the stumps down. And oh no, as we call it in Australia here, it's one of the worst barbecues I've ever seen in my entire life. At the same time, hilarious because the next ball, Jadeja brings up his 100 and then does the sword celebration honouring his ancestors. What a wonderful, wonderful way to close out day one of the third test match. Let's have a look at the scores here, Pezza. It started well for England. Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, Patidar all in the hutch early. They were 3 for 33 before Rohit Sharma, and of course Jadeja scored wonderful hundreds with great assistance from Sarfaraz Khan, who almost scored the innings of the day. Mark Wood, pick of the bowlers, 3 for 69. Jimmy Anderson put in a shift in as well, 19 overs. Hartley picked up Patidar. That's the day's play. As India closed the day out, 326 for 5. But Pezza, it's all about that closing moment. It's one of the greatest runouts of all time.
It was like 5 seconds of Shakespeare. Like it was philosophy, politics, culture, society, all wrapped up into 5 seconds of mayhem. And the great life lesson is never be a team man in cricket. This guy, Sarfaraz Khan, who was overripe for test cricket from what we saw of his innings. He came in what could be construed as a tough situation. Jimmy Anderson and spinners going at you, having just lost your captain, match still in the balance after 3 early wickets lost. He almost caught up to Jadeja. He was batting so well. He looked like a guy who'd been in the best form since Bradman. He increased the run rate from 3.5 to 4 after a wicket had been lost. There was montages of his father crying. And this guy at the other end, Jadeja, who in every other day of cricket is the most scintillating player on the planet, looked like he was never going to score a run again. Such was the paralysis of meeting his fourth test 100. And what's the lesson? Sarfaraz Khan doing what he could. He already was diving into his crease a couple of other times beforehand as Jadeja called him through for the worst runs of all time. He just does what his senior partner says to do, run. It was the most ridiculous run that you have seen in cricket, brought about by nothing but anxiety and selfishness. But the senior man knows who's going to pay. And did you see, the
audacity,
the tragedy afterward, the fucking Greek tragedy of everything going on afterwards? Like Sarfaraz not knowing what to do. The first thing that happened, by the way, and we've all been guilty of this, I would suggest, is that Jadeja's first action is to raise his hands in some just complete defensive reflex. Like, what have you done? What have you done other than exactly what I asked you to do in pursuit of my own goals?
Palms and then pointed up towards the sky. What have you done?
Even a man of the confidence of Jadeja knew that one wasn't going to wash. And then poor Sarfaraz, who just played a blinding innings and was just so great to watch. He trudges from the field. We then get the slow-mo of firstly the rest of the team just dagger eyes at Jadeja. and Rohit throwing his cap on the ground, you know.
Yeah.
Like the PR for Sarfaraz out of this is unbelievable, by the way. We'll get back to that. So that's awesome for him. And then Jadeja finally, after everybody had fucking gone to sleep and woken up, decides to bring up his 100 the next ball and proceeds to unleash the saddest sword swish you have ever seen in your life, reminiscent of that girl crying on TikTok while she did a TikTok dance. One of my favorite things after that, God bless him, and someone needed to do it, was Jimmy Anderson walking up and mocking him. So let's just face it, like mocking the swish. Let's face it, right? Jadeja has played a deeply important innings for India today. His cricket was exemplary and so was Rohit's. We're talking about the drama of one moment. But it's very difficult to go past how much England would be giving it to this guy now.
Yeah.
You know? So, mate, I realise we're 8 minutes into the show, or 6 or whatever. That's how I saw it. And there's a lot to come out of it, but it's a beautiful Shakespearean Greek drama that's played out, you know. And none of it's possible if Sarfaraz Khan isn't prejudicially ignored from the team for 2 years as well. Like, it really is like, you know, like welcome to cricket. You know what I mean? Like he was going to score 100. He was going to score 100 on debut for India. And it's just like, cricket. And, you know, that's before you even overlay this whole, you know, the culture of the milestone in India and the ton and what it means. But yeah.
Well, Pezza, none of this would happen, of course, without Hell Energy Drink getting right behind TGC. And Hell Energy Drink gives you power like hell. Roll the clip, Charlie.
Did you think that your talent would leave you today when it was all up to you? All you need is a little spark to go like hell. Hell Energy.
Now, Pezza, I think that coupled perfectly with the moment itself is how fucking hard Mark Wood threw the stumps down.
Cartwheeling.
It wasn't like, now, you know, we saw recently in an ODI where Australia didn't appeal for one, didn't appeal for a runner, therefore it wasn't given out. Now this left this left us all with no doubt as to what had just happened. I think one of the bails might have actually pierced Sarfaraz Khan's heart. Such was the pace that Mark Wood fucking pelted the ball at the stumps. Oh, and then Jadeja saying, "What are you doing?" Scores 100 next ball, and then we get to see that the whole Indian bench in their orange training kit standing as one to applaud this wonderful innings. It was the most painfully conflicted moment that I could possibly think of. It's
Mate,
beautiful.
It's so good from a dramatic perspective. Like, you know, sometimes in these scenarios, you hypothesize what might have happened had both parties committed to the run. And the call for the run was so bad, I'm still not sure Sarfaraz wouldn't have been out because Jadeja wouldn't have crossed him yet. Like, it just, you know, the commitment to the milestone and what the milestone of 100 does to one, as somebody as free as Ravindra Jadeja is, as a cricketer, that you even think that is on, you know, that a run like that was on. It boggles the mind.
It's somehow managed to encapsulate the beauty, the power, the talent, and every problem with Indian cricket all in the same thing. Because, you know, the criticism for a while has been, you know, that some of their big players, the sacred cows, inverted commas, they are untouchable, and that they slow down for milestones. They actually hinder the team's cause because they play for individual. Like, they are so lionized. They are worshipped to the nth degree. And they've got Sarfaraz Khan, who averages literally fucking 70 in first class cricket in 45 games. And there's some other coats in the team who, have had a good run for 5 minutes. in the IPL that get a gig ahead of him. This guy looks like one of the best players I've ever seen. One innings, etc., etc. But the runs are literally on the board. How the fuck has this guy never played? And he's just trying to do the thing to help his teammate. And then his teammate fucking burns him so hard. And his instinct is to do, what the fuck you doing, man? I mean, fuck. It's perfect. Oh, man. Anyway, I thought Rohit batted well as well.
Yeah, I thought Rohit batted well.
Yeah,
he batted well.
nicely.
Yeah, look, people might be watching and going, well, you're being a bit harsh on Jadeja and stuff. No, we're not. It's just the funniest thing that happened. You know, he finishes the day. What does he finish? 100-something red. So it's pretty good.
110.
Okay, so hell of a start from England on a what has turned out to be a fucking road, a slow road, flat as fuck. Three for spit, India, and they're two experienced players in what must be the weakest batting lineup in modern Indian cricket history. Some owing to injuries, want to speak about that. Otherwise, the experienced guys combine to put the innings back on track, and they needed to. I mean, so much so that even when Rohit was dismissed, the game still felt in the balance, and I believe probably still is in the balance somewhat. He did very well, Rohit, particularly given he's been batting like he's carrying a toothpick for a couple of games. So credit to him. India needed a daddy 100 from him, though. India needed a daddy, more than a private school product needs his own when he's in trouble with the law. India seriously needed strong, stable fatherhood 100. But they got something close to that. I just look at India's lineup and the fact that a lot of the reflections on the day's play may be about the importance of experience in a side, and that the experienced players saved India. I think that's really easy analysis. But I think perversely India's reluctance to blood youth over the last couple of years has resulted in an extreme situation today where you have two blokes debuting in the top 7, another in his second test, the next in his 6th test. So you've got 4 of the top 7 with 8 tests between them. That's not bad luck. That's bad management. Of course, you can't countenance all of the reasons some of the players can't be there, but it does happen. That it is a result of over-prioritising incumbents and under-prioritising continuity. That said, the experienced heads just about got them to a good place today on a deck that demanded a lot of runs with very few wickets.
I think part of that as well is that SHREYAS IYER has been the guy that they've wanted to carry the mantle or be like the next generation for the middle order, and it just hasn't worked out. And he's been so good in Asia, especially at home, not just Asia, broadly speaking. And it hasn't looked like scoring a run in 2 years, which is it's the worst possible time to drop away from form, when now is the moment where he becomes the guy to solidify his role in the team for 5 years. And the form has just completely dropped. Obviously, he was sort of shown weaknesses against searing pace bowling, but this should be his series right now. Shub McGill, I know he scored a great 100 in the last innings, but it has been a rough trot. He literally scored 100, so that's harsh, but it did need Dad to step in today, and I made Dad in the sense of Rohit Sharma, not AB de Villiers making up stuff on his YouTube channel. But today needed Dad. It needed Dad with a beard who's gone to work in a blazer. He went out to the toss. He wore a blazer. He had a freshly cut beard, and he looked the coin in the face, and he called correctly and said, "Today is my day. We're going to have a stick. I fucking love a stick, and I don't like a toothpick, the toothpick that I've been batting with for a little while now. I'm going to bring my railway sleeper out today. It's a big, thick railway sleeper." He also somehow looks, he looks slimmer in the team. I'm not sure what has changed in the team, but he just looks a little slimmer. He looks a little fitter, a little trimmer. Okay? Today is Rohit Sharma's day. It was nearly someone else's day, but today is Dad's day. Today was Father's Day. Rohit Sharma, father of India.
Today was a day for strong fatherhood. I agree. Like today is a day where Dad goes to work, and Dad smells nice as he goes to work. It's a jarring smelling cologne that he has on, but as a child, the musk of it actually stays with you and triggers thoughts of strength and power and bearishness. Now, during the day yourself, as a young inexperienced cub, you actually get a flat tire, and you don't know how to change that tire. And so you call Dad, and Dad's busy and he's not happy, but he goes, okay, I have to do this for my son. And he drives out to you and he changes that fucking tire. He takes his blazer off, he takes his jacket off, and he changes that fucking tire, and he looks every inch the man doing it. He's rolled up his sleeves, he's got it done, he's sighing as he does it. Do I have to do this again, son? But he does it. And then he goes back to work, obviously, because he's under the pump. But yeah, you know, it was a day for fatherhood, and Lord, didn't they need it?
Should we talk about just the game generally speaking and where it's at?
No.
I think you set up nicely before where England had the ascendancy in the day. They've taken 3 huge early wickets. There was a moment where Joel Wilson, as he likes to do, got an LBW decision incorrect. That would have made it 50 for 4 had he given out. Rohit Sharma, had the decision stayed on the field. It was overturned because he hit it, so it wasn't out as per the laws of the game. But, you know, it felt like Rohit maybe rode his luck a little bit, probably more that England were nearly there. They were nearly there for that breakthrough. It's so hard to win in India, and you just, once you get a sniff, you just need to keep the ball rolling. Didn't quite happen, but England were good. It sets up the game nicely now. The score is 326 for 5. That run out at the end of the day's play, it could be one of two things. It could be very crucial or have no impact on what happens in the rest of the match. But I've got to tell you, that given the nature of the deck, I think it looks like it's going to be hard to battle in the 4th innings. But 326 for 5, it's certainly not India's runaway day. I don't think it's England's day per se, but it's nicely poised. Once again, I think it's nicely poised. Thoughts?
I just cannot conjure a scenario more crucial in both cricketing and Shakespearean terms than the Jadeja Sarfaraz situation. A guy on debut playing like Bradman, rendering everybody else looking ridiculous.
Destined for a debut 100.
Destined and, mate, double. I mean, you don't want to get 300 on debut for India. Guys fall by the wayside after that. But, 100 would have felt like he was just getting started. And to leave for 60 with the deck probably getting difficult, as you say, down the track in the test match, that's a lot of runs that they've missed out on from a pure practical cricket perspective. You know, he didn't look like getting out. That's all I'm saying. So Jadeja's going to need. Oh, what's he going to need? He's going to need 150 and at least 12 for the match to even come close to bridging the emotional, debt that he has. And I'd welcome a performance like that.
Just talking about England again, they obviously just took the second new ball as Sarfaraz Khan was dismissed. So Kuldeep Yadav came as a night watchman. They still have Jurel, who's also on debut.
A night watchman for a number 7 bat. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Ashwin, Bumrah and Siraj makes up their 11 for this 3rd test match here. So look, it did move a little bit. I thought Anderson moved around a little bit. Obviously, Wood will come back tomorrow morning. You would think they'd start with the 2 seamers tomorrow. But look, I mean, once again, it feels like England's, through some good cricket they've played so far, and also circumstance where they are, India are missing one of their best ever players, and also Kohli. No, there's obviously KL Rahul is not there. Neither is Virat Kohli. I'm not sure how fit Jadeja is. He's coming back from a hamstring. I mean, he's just got 100,
Incredible.
So maybe he's extremely fit. But it just feels like England are right in this. You come back tomorrow morning, and if India score 450. If they keep him at 400, that'd be fucking incredible. But I don't know. It feels like England have had a good day today with that run out.
The deck looks a bat first, bat big, bat once kind of thing. Look, those who have already decided to comment on the complete vitriol towards a guy that's made 100 not out, well, they've already done what they're going to do. But like, it really should be pointed out that like, firstly for Jadeja to come back from a hamstring injury, suffered like what, 2 would be struggling to be more than 3 weeks ago. No,
it's like yeah.
To miss a test, to miss one test after a hamstring injury, is amazing powers of recovery, and then 2 with the tumult around the side with all the experienced absences that they have, to just be so good at test cricket, to be able to bump yourself up to number 5 and come in at 3 for nothing and end the day 110 not out, run-outs notwithstanding, just shows what a great player he is. It is the day will be remembered for the Greek tragedy of the run out, but because it's just the dramatic thing that's got more narrative, emotional layers to it than anything else. But really, like that's got to be one of his most important innings, for India, and they're just saving themselves every so often to keep themselves in the series. But yeah, they will rue the fact that they had a look at a 500 scenario, and because of this paralysis and anxiety over the milestone, they've cost themselves. They might have cost themselves dearly.
Hashtag AskTGC Pezza, and I thought Brad had the strongest one sent in. If you want to read your hashtag AskTGC out tomorrow, sorry, if you want us to read it, or you want to read it yourself, I mean, there are 2 options there. One will be on a show. One will just be in your mum's basement. So a couple of options there. But please do leave it in the comments below and we'll assess it. And if it's any good, we'll do some stuff with it on tomorrow's show. And you can join us right here. Hey, by the way, we're so close to surpassing the number where we were at before what happened in November in that last game of the ODI World Cup. So if you want to click subscribe to get us back past that number, that's right, folks. We would have regained the followers that we miraculously lost after something happened in November that I don't recall. But, Pezza, talking about Jadeja's wonderful, wonderful innings. Indeed, it could be a match-winning innings already, but Brad said, should Sarfaraz have called for a review on Jadeja's plum LBW to avoid being run out, trying to get him to his 100? I thought that's an interesting point. Now, Jadeja would have been LBW in the 90s. I'm not sure what he was exactly on, but he was in the 90s. LBW, not reviewed by England, would have been out had they done so. So should Sarfaraz have actually retrospectively reviewed that as some sort of redemption act? Well, it's something to think about for the future, Pezza.
I hadn't had the chance to read that question before you said it, but I had a feeling that when you said it came from a guy called Brad, that it wasn't really going to be on Jadeja's side. So there's that. I was nervous. There was a few. I noticed there was a few like odd LBW decisions. It always seems to happen when a particular umpire is there. And I also noted that, there was some criticism for one LBW that England did decide to review, where like Rohit sort of bat and pad came together at the same time. They were correct; it did hit the pad before the bat, but it was well outside the line of off stump. And there's a lot of criticism that it was a bad review all ends up. But then you think, yeah, but Joel Wilson's umpiring, so you better be fucking in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? Like no one really knows. So just another drive-by for Joel Wilson because it's easy and lazy. But yeah, look, I think it's, who knows, mate. Like Sarfaraz has had 2 years where he should have had more sympathy extended to him by establishment India, and if he plays his cards right and actually gets behind Jadeja, he might find that he is the love of the nation, and everybody believes in him, and he might find himself with a little bit more rope than he might have otherwise because of this. Cricket is just a very, very weird political game where people do weird things and feel weird things and say weird things on the internet.
Or he could get a job in government. I mean, both options there. If he stays on the right side of Jadeja, options.
Well, let's
Options
wait.
there.
Have they announced? Yeah, indeed.
All right. Thanks for joining us here at TGC. Click subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be back on the bell of the end of day 2 of the third test match. See you then. Cheers.